morning. Welcome all. It's good to see you here this morning. Newcomers, long-term members, those returning, and those watching online. These crisp autumn mornings with the cascading leaves and shortened daylight remind us, as they do every year in our land of the four seasons, that even sunlight and warmth have their natural cycles. My name is Preston Wilson, and I am your volunteer Celebrations Associate today. We gather now to nurture our connections, seek inspiration, and embrace change. Heritage is our theme for this October, and heritage is everywhere we look in this sanctuary and all around this remarkable and expanded edifice, which has meant so much to so many for over 100 years. So this month especially, we honor the thousands of congregants who have laid down the paths of governance and principles that we try to follow today. For now, this century, at this time, every week, is where I can breathe freely, experience loving kindness, and find peace among friends. I hope that you feel the same. Please take a moment to read at your convenience the announcement in your order of service. The success of so many of our church activities depends upon your generous and voluntary participation. Now I'd like to introduce Fred Belfour and Jack Zinda, who are going to talk about being hospitable, which they have no trouble with.
We're kind of scripted because we're held to 3 minutes, and Jack and I can take a lot longer than that just to say hello, so we're careful.
Okay.
Hi, Jack. How are you doing this morning?
I've been better. Sort of feeling like a failure.
Really? What's the matter?
Well, I'm a hospitality team captain, and I can't seem to get folks to sign up for after church coffee and ushering.
Whoa, coffee after service is one of my favorite times of the week. Personally, I get a real sense of community working in the kitchen and ushering.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I find a lot of community in welcoming folks coming in at the door.
But wait a minute, since we started church in September, we've had ushers and coffee each week. Aren't we doing pretty well? Sexton doesn't complain about the messy kitchen. Somebody's cleaning up.
Oh yeah, well I really want to thank the people who have shown up, often at the last minute when we request for urgent help.
I'm thinking at the first few coffee hours we had last year, after masks and distances were lifted, they were really exciting.
Oh yeah, I mean we had people staying for an hour after church, and it was great coming together and seeing a lot of friends.
Didn't we get a comment from one of the members about coffee hour?
Oh yeah, that email was really, really uplifting. It said, as silly as it sounds, the return of snacks could mean the return of our family to Sunday services. We haven't been attending at all since the shutdown in 2020. So we would possibly also return to being part of a hospitality team.
I think it's a sign from heaven that this is the right message. So when you contact a member of team number 1, which is where you're captain, what exactly do you ask that person to do?
I mean, it's really simple, and I mean, there's a few different things you can do, and each one, we just ask about 30 minutes of a person. That could be setting the tables and putting out cups and snacks. It could be making coffee. It could be ushering and helping people, get their, get their programs and find out where they need to be.
Straightforward. And does a team member have to show up every week?
No, not at all. So I'm captain. We've got these 4 teams, and I'm the captain of team 1. Each team has, I think, 50, 60 people, and we're responsible for about 10 weeks every year. And if you do the math, if a person signed up 1.5 times every year, we would be fully staffed each week.
1.5 times would fully staff it, but does the sign-up sheet have a space for a 1/2 staffing?
No, so I guess you could do it 2 times this year and then take it easy and just do 1 next year.
Do you think the people sitting here today would agree to sign up once or twice a year?
I don't know. I mean, we could ask them.
Yeah, can we have a show of hands? Would you hold up your hand if you'd be willing to work once or twice a year on hospitality? How many would do that? Wow.
Oh, now that's making me feel a little better. Maybe the next 3 Sundays in October, we'll be all signed up.
We took pictures with YouTube. YouTube is great. So, does your team get a break? I mean, you're here.
Oh yeah, I mean, so we've got October, and after that, each of the other 3 teams has a month, and so we pick up back in the new year.
Well, getting involved in society, even on something as small as 30 minutes a year, should be really happy and satisfying and build community. You happy now?
Yeah, I think my appetite's back, and I'll maybe snatch something from the table before people
Let's go sneak a snack. Thank you.
Clever guy to take pictures. All right. Well, let's take a couple of minutes now to turn around and shake hands maybe if you like, or just greet people in your own way and get back to you. If you would say with me the opening words for the chalice lighting. We light this chalice I'd now like to introduce Marie McCrae.
Good morning. I'm a gardener. I bet a lot of you are also. And this past week, the weather was so wonderful. It was a little too warm for October, maybe, but it was glorious. My garden in these gorgeous sun-drenched fall days is just a chaos, a riot of color and shape. Right now, the tall New England asters are full of their purple blooms, and right next to them, the huge leaves of the rhubarb. The yellow pole beans are still producing enough to feed us a couple times a week. And tangled in amongst them are the beautiful orange flowers of the nasturtiums. There's light green lettuce and bright red Swiss chard. But just as important are the small snakes birthed live just a few weeks ago, looking for places that'll be warm for the winter. And the wonderful, big, yellow and black garden spiders that set up their snares between 2 tall, branches. Under everything, the soil with its thousands of critters and miles of mycelium. The soil that gives us everything we have. My good fortune in growing food in my backyard is as dependent on the snakes and the spiders as it is on my having seed to start in the spring. Off to one side, there's a forest right now of dahlias. They're so beautiful to have in a vase. But the dahlias teach me that not everything I enjoy is good for the earth. The dahlias aren't covered with bees and butterflies. They're there shaking their flowers, going, look at me, but none of the insects come by them. That's for the little tiny flowered asters that grow under the dahlias. They're covered with bees and butterflies. So if I want dahlia beauty, I have to work harder at leaving space for the flowers that really feed the insects in my yard, because everything depends on the insects and the small critters. My garden is my spiritual place. I love the circles of support that I observe there. And I wish you all the opportunity to be out and see the miracle of the earth that we live on. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. I have a couple of pairs of my younger friends who have agreed to help with our collection baskets this week. You can take a look in your order of service and see that our Side with Love for October is planting seeds. As they come around with their baskets, I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry and heart can say.
happy to invite Carol Whitlow to come on up for our Time for Wonder. And my young friends, or those who are young at heart, I invite you also to come up and take a seat on the steps.
So Liliana, my granddaughter here, is going to help us with the Wonder Box. Liliana, will you open it and see what's inside? See all those birds flying out amongst you? Could you pass those things out to people here? And it's kind of a mystery box because as I tell a story, we're going to find out if you have one of the missing characters of the story. So Liliana, just hand these things out to the various kids. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a story about a trip that I took once upon a time over the Andes Mountains. The Andes Mountains are the longest mountain range in the world. And the snow from the top of the Andes melts into the Napo River, which goes down into the Amazon River, which is the longest river in the world. The Quechua people live in the Orellana rainforest, which is along the edge of the Napo River. And a little girl named Hillary, and Hillary means rainbow, she lived with her family in a village in the Orellana rainforest. One day she woke up and had guava fruit for breakfast and shared a piece with her tamarin monkey. Has anybody seen that monkey? Could you show that monkey to people around here and to the other kids? He visited her every day from his home in the forest, and then Hillary tossed her backpack on her back, and she started down the road to school. High up in a tree sat Arikani Toucanet. Does anybody have Arikani Toucanet? He's got a yellow and black striped. Can you show him to the other kids? He's kind of like a jailbird with a very big beak, right? And he said, "Hola, hola, ¿dónde vas? Where are you going?" "A la escuela," said Hillary, "to school." "Me too," said Arikani Toucanet, and he followed her. On a branch sat Sapphire-Rumped Parrotlet and his friends. They were primping and babbling and approving of each other and feeling quite fine. Can you guys show us what it means to primp and feel fine and show off your colors? That's what those little parrotlets were doing. They saw Hillary and Arikani Toucanet, and they flapped their wings. "We too, vamos consigo, squaw, squaw," they called and followed along. A rusty brown and gold chachalaca was watching her babies in the nest by the river. "Do you have the chachalaca?" And show that to everybody else. "Shh," she said as the group went by. The babies peeped out with curiosity from their twiggy home. Then Jabiro lifted his head from fishing and watched Hillary and Arikani Toucanet and the fine parrotlets. Liliana, can you show us Jabiro? Does everybody else have a picture of Jabiro? He's pretty handsome, isn't he? Yep. Red, white, and black. He decided to follow along the water, striding with his long legs. What does it mean to stride with your long legs? Can you show us what that means, to stride like Jabiro did? He's got some really nice long legs.
Stand up on short notice.
Do you want to do it? Okay, here he goes, striding along. And he's peeping out from the long grass. So we've got the birds overhead and Jabiro along the edge of the river. Right, thank you, yes. We've got a future thespian here.
I already am a thespian.
Right. A noisy group of yellow-crowned parrots and some blue-headed parrots and some macaws were on their way to the clay licks. Anybody got pictures of those parrots? Liliana, do you have some there? Show it to everybody. There's quite a group of parrots, and the clay licks are ways that they get the nutrients they need and help their bodies to stay healthy. Rufous-crested coquette followed above. Another beautiful day, they all chattered as they planned their route. At the schoolhouse, the teacher stood outside ringing the bell. Does anybody have pictures of kids standing in line at the schoolhouse? Do you have one of those pictures? They're the kids. They stand in line, and then the teacher comes to bring them into the classroom. Ellery joined in the line of the school children who laughed and called hola to Arakari Tucanet, the parrotlets, Coquette, Jabiro, and the parrots. The birds watched the children file into their classroom. At the end of the line, marching right along with the children, was a big conga ant. Sharpening his pincers. Can you show us what it looks like to sharpen your pincers? And thinking to have some fun for himself. How the children would squeal, he imagined. But Pearly Antshrike was watching from above. Do you have Pearly Antshrike there? Can you show us a picture of Pearly Antshrike? He's a very handsome black and white critter with a nice black tuft. Can you turn it around and show it to other people too? Anybody else have Pearly Antshrike? She swooped down and picked up that rascally conga ant and flew off over the reeds and dropped him on a bamboo leaf. He floated down the river and came ashore many miles downstream. The parrots flew off to the clay licks and the other birds went about their business. A pair of tawny-bellied screech owls sitting on a branch outside the schoolhouse opened their eyes to see what had happened. They asked, "Who, who?" Then they closed their eyes again in satisfaction that school was proceeding as it should. Little Ellery loved her bird friends who followed her to school. She learned their names and what they liked to do each day. When she grew up, she became a field guide for the tourist lodge on the lagoon beyond the village. She was able to repay the favors of her friends when she helped to protect the lands they lived in by making laws to keep the rivers and the rainforest clean and healthy so the birds and animals could live well, each as they preferred. And some of you are artists, and some of the kids drew this mural. You see the macaw here, and it says, "No destroyan." What do you think?
Don't stop. No.
Right, good. La natureza. So, no destroyan la natureza.
No destroying this forest. This is an important forest.
Y ayuda a conservarla.
Like I said, this is an important forest.
Exactly. Help to conserve it. So, in the village of Coca, that mural reminds people to take care of everything around them. And thanks for helping me out. And now, Emily.
You are very welcome.
Thank you, and thank you very much.
Friends, I'm going to invite you to put the pictures back into the Wonder Box. Parents, if you have not signed your young people in, you can meet Madeline and I in the parlor. We are going to be in the annex today, so when you come to pick them up, meet us there. And I'm going to invite everyone to turn to the back of your hymnals to sing us out. And I want you to sing Mother Earth this week. Where you go, I will go, Mother Earth. Where you go, I will go.
Your people are mine.
Good morning. So I'm noticing that there's a fair number of new people this morning, so before I go into the joys and sorrows for today, I just want to let you know that there are two different ways that your joys and sorrows or appreciations can be submitted for inclusion on Sunday morning. You can send notices to an email address, joys and sorrows, all written out at uuithaca.org by 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. Or you can fill out one of the green cards in the basket on Sunday morning and just leave that in the basket, and whoever is doing joys and sorrows that morning will pick it up. When considering what you might say in your joy and sorrow, please note that our services are live streamed and available to the public on our YouTube channel. In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community, to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. My husband, Jens Wenberg, and I would like to announce that our 8th great-grandbaby, Lila Sue Lawrence, was born on September 24th in Overland Park, Kansas, to our granddaughter Maren and Kyle, her husband, and to big brother and sister Evie and Sammy. So we are happy to welcome a new member into our family. For those we are holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call these names out loud into this community, into this space of healing and hope right now. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, let our hands be outstretched in kindness, and let us keep showing up to our lives and each other with an open heart, no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Blessed be, and amen.
Hello, I'm Ann Rhodes. I'm here to set us off on a meditation. In what ways is the climate crisis calling us to spiritual growth? In the middle of everything falling apart, what's coming together? What does the climate crisis have to do with love? Let's take a few moments together to sit with awe, gratitude, wonder, and humbleness as we think about the enormous transition that's underway.
Each week, we take a voluntary offering to sustain ministries and programs of this congregation and their presence in Ithaca. Giving to the plate is important as a symbol of gratitude for this service and our ongoing commitment to support the work of this church.
Morning
Please say with me the words of dedication of the offering that are printed in your order of service. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond. And now I'd like to introduce Marie McRae again for a poem by Wendell Berry.
October 10. Now, constantly, there is the sound, quieter than rain, of the leaves falling. Under their loosening bright gold, the sycamore limbs bleach whiter. Now the only flowers are beeweed and aster, spray of their white and lavender over brown leaves. The calling of a crow sounds loud, a landmark, now that the life of summer falls silent and the nights grow.
In what ways is the climate crisis calling us to spiritual growth? In the middle of everything falling apart, what's coming together? What does the climate crisis have to do with love? I think the crisis of climate change is, at its core, a spiritual crisis. Let me explain. First, what is spirituality? I'm not a religious person, but I do feel my life is guided by a sense of spirituality. But what does that mean? To me, it means awe, wonder, and a sense of interconnection, which brings humility and gratitude and a feeling of love. Maybe that resonates with how you feel about spirituality. Awe, wonder, interconnection, love. So, what do I want to share with you about those aspects of spirituality? Let's take awe and wonder first. Of course, there is our amazing little planet in a mid-sized galaxy amongst millions of galaxies and massive unknown realities and spans of space and time. Some galaxies are billions of light years away. How do I even conceive of that? Awe. That changes my sense of who I am. But coming closer to daily life, whatever we look at closely enough can bring us to awe. Anything that we look at closely enough. Taking a drink of water, for example. Looking more closely, I turn this thing and potable water comes right out of this little pipe. What? Amazing. And the well, or the lake, goes down deep into the earth. And there is water flowing constantly down there. This water is part of a vast body of water that circles the entire globe, always joined to itself, a global unifier through the oceans, moving, evaporating, freezing, thawing. All the water that's present with us on Earth has been there forever. There's no new water. Look closely at anything. A patch of weeds, the migrating geese, at the full moon, at your cell phone, at your own hand. Awe, wonder. Wonder, why is there life? How did life happen? I used to think about this all the time when I was a little girl. Like, what? How did this happen? Where did this come from? Every breath I take, every step I take, the trees talk to each other in their underground network. What? Salmon swim upstream to spawn? Certain whales habitually congregate in one specific area of the ocean to compose a single piece of music together. Honeybees exhibit a high degree of fidelity to a specific patch of flowers. Muscle memory isn't something that happens in the mind, like a mental memory of how to do something. That memory actually exists in the muscle fibers themselves. Wonder is everywhere. When I pause to contemplate these things, I'm humbled. It changes my sense of who I am. I find myself in another mindset, another space, shifted out of my scheduled, distracted life. To me, that is a spiritual place. Of course, I can't live in this space all the time. I do have to clean the cat boxes. But it's there. So how about interconnection and love as part of spirituality? I would like to propose a redefinition of love. Think of the phrase, I love you, and how that plays out in our culture. It usually signifies romance and maybe sexual attraction, or how we feel about someone that we know well and we feel connected to. I love you. That's one level of love. Now think about the love in families. We love each other, even if we don't always like each other, or even get along, or agree, or even if we can't stand each other. It's family. There's something deep because it's family. That's a different kind of love. Something real is there that we can't turn our back on, even if we're not close with our family members. Now, why is that family love so strong, so enduring? Because we came from each other. We are cellularly, genetically, physically connected. We are literally made of each other. On a cellular level. Now, think about how over millions of years, the entire web of life on Earth is cellularly, organically, chemically, physically connected. Everything. Trees, flowers, insects, fish, coyotes, birds, water, air, soil. We all literally evolved together over billions of years. The whole web of life created itself in conjunction with each other. We're all made of each other. We're all made for each other. Trees evolved to breathe out oxygen and breathe in the carbon dioxide that we mammals exhale, so that we both can live. We depend on each other. We evolved to make that happen. We coordinated somehow to make that happen so that we could live. And all plants evolved to interact with the microbes and other life forms in the soil, cycling nutrients and mutually benefiting each other. All forms of life depend on each other. We evolved together over billions of years. Flowers gradually evolved over thousands of years with shapes and colors that attract pollinators and offer them food in exchange for reproductive services. How did that happen? All life forms cycle water through our bodies, and all life forms exchange chemicals through the air. Water, soil, rock, air, life, and of course the light and warmth of the sun. We are all related. We're all family on such a deep level. I would propose that this deep ancient connection with the whole web of life is the deepest form of love. The interconnections and interdependence are so profound, so essential, so pervasive, so ancient. The web of life is an unfathomable miracle. And we humans are inextricably woven into it. Being an old hippie, I can say that blows my mind. So, there's no such thing as independence. It's not possible. There's no such thing as not belonging. It's not possible. We're all part of each other. The whole web of life, all made from each other, sustained by each other. There is a profound reality of belonging if we can remember to feel it, if we pay attention to it. And as we sit beside each other here, or meet each other's gaze, or share bread together, we can see in each other that belonging, mammals that we are. I see that you are part of the web of life, as I am. We are in this together. Compassion. I think that is deep love, and I think that is spiritual. I think that is how the climate crisis is calling us to spirituality. When we see this amazing web that we are so intertwined with, when we see that endangered, I think that calls us to respond spiritually, calling us to a spiritually guided, communal, necessary transformation. So, here we are right now, in this beautiful room. Look around you. All these people, real people, even if you don't always get along. And with an amazing day outside, and someone's hand right next to you. And you were sitting on a bench that used to be a tree. And this building is resting on what used to be a marshy wetland, where mink, raccoons, beavers, turtles, herons, ducks osprey, muskrat. I looked it up. And the Gayogahono people lived here together for thousands of years. Maybe this deep sense of history, inescapable interconnection, awe, belonging, and love could be what brings us together when everything is falling apart. Thank you.
I ask you to turn in your teal hymnals, number 1073. This is connecting with Anne's words and how do we need to connect our own lives with our care for Earth, care for those around us, and in some ways, if we were talking at the beginning, we were talking about family and how we care for our family. And if we think about Earth as our family, then maybe we will love it more. And this is old knowledge, this is old stories from people who were indigenous to this land. Their creation stories, their way they lived their lives was connected to the earth in a way that we've become disconnected. So maybe learning back to where we need to be. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. The earth is our mother, we must take care of her. Hey, ho, hey, hey, ho, hey, her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take, her sacred ground we walk upon, with every step we take. Hey, ho, hey, hey, ho, hey, the earth is our mother, she will take care of us. The earth is our mother, she will take care of us. Hey, ho, hey, hey, ho, the sky is our father, we will take care of him. The sky is our father, we will take care of him. Hey, hey, the sea is our sister, we will take care of her. The sea is our sister, we will take care of her. Hey, hey, the forest is our brother, we will take care of him. The forest is our brother, we will take care of him. Hey, hey,
Our closing words from Rebecca Solnit's writing. Hope is not a lottery ticket you can sit on the sofa and clutch, feeling lucky. It's an axe you break down doors with in an emergency. Hope should shove you out the door because it will take everything you have to steer the future away from endless war, from the annihilation of the earth's treasures and the grinding down of the poor and marginal. To hope is to give yourself to the future, and that commitment to the future is what makes the present inhabitable.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.